Hi everyone. So it's I guess you could say it's a little break, and for some reason I thought I was much further behind on elementary than I was. Only one episode, which is what this video is gonna be. It was called Snow Angels. And I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, even though I did see a little glimpse of what it was supposed to be like in like a little summary or whatever. But I wasn't sure. Because I know a whole bunch of different definitions of for the phrase snow angels. But this one surrounded a robbery, actually a couple robberies during a blizzard in New York City. And I have a lot of friends who are in New York, so I know all about that. And actually, I used to live in Philly, so I have experienced blizzards myself. Well, not I wasn't in one, but you know, I was in the house, and it's freaking cold. Um, so this this episode, one of my favorite things of this episode, because we finally meet Miss Hudson, and as we know her in the ACD stories and BBC Sherlock version, Miss Hudson is usually an old woman, who she looks after the flat, the 221B flat, and but in this instance, she was older for sure, but she was gorgeous. Like, she looked young, and she had to be like, I want to say at least 30 or at least her 40s, but she was beautiful. She was blonde, and she had just came to visit Sherlock because apparently she helped her before on a few things, especially when she's going through breakups. So in this episode, she was going through a breakup with this guy who I think he cheated on her. Like, apparently he was a serial cheater or whatever. And so Sherlock was letting her stay, just until she knew what she was gonna do. And I actually liked it because Watson walked in, and not Miss Watson, Miss Hudson was crying, and Miss Hudson, I was like, whoa, because she said she was Miss Hudson, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got it, because I love Miss Hudson's character, like, in everything else. I just didn't know what they were gonna do when they were gonna bring her in, but it was nice, and she apparently she has in this storyline she has a bit of OCD, which fits with how they ended her, how I guess she's gonna be coming back into the show a little bit more, but she like pretty much cleaned up the apartment, like she organized his books that are in the living room and stuff, and I was like, that does fit. And Sherlock offered her to clean the the apartment on weekends. So that's good. Like, he would pay her so she'd have somewhere if she's gonna be staying with her cousin. Okay, case part. Since I just went all on this personal side first, which I don't usually do. So the case was, in the beginning of the episode, of course, they always show something happening case-wise, and this woman faked being mugged and shot a security guard at I think it was, I believe it was like some kind of security place, but it had like cell phones, of these new cell phones that were coming out, and like they were all gone. But I don't think it was a cell phone place, like a factory or whatever. But she shot the guard, then she like went somewhere, and she was blonde. So when they showed Miss Hudson, I was confused. I was like, wait, what? But, but that's not her. It's definitely not her. So they couldn't really do much because of the power situation during the blizzard. But Sherlock wanted to go through the blizzard and find out what happened during this, because there was going to be another robbery, because he knew there was going to be another robbery. And he like finds, well, Belle, actually, when they finally get in contact with Belle and Gregory Lestrade, he tells them, well, he didn't tell them. Bell goes to like all these different hospital and clinics around the the radius of where the robbery took place. I don't know if it was the first one or the second robbery. I think but it has to be the first one. And he's trying to look for someone with a gunshot wound or some kind of abdomen injury. And so the guy who he talks to in this hospital or clinic, I wasn't sure which one it was, said he thought that he was like, there's no one with a gunshot wound for 2 weeks. And then Bell's like, what about any other kind of abdomen injury, like a stab wound or something? The guy's like, there was one person with a stab injury, or so they say. And so he goes in. So Bell goes in with his badge and meets this woman. It turns out she was an accomplice. She was the lady who shot the security guard in the beginning of the episode. And so he like takes her in. He's like, since you're trying to get out of here anyway, I'm gonna be your ride. So basically, he took her downtown to the NYPD station, and he put her in the interrogation room and started interrogating her, trying to find out what she knew. And it turns out her husband, I think he's either husband or boyfriend, was the one behind, who was really the main guy behind it. And but as usual, when there comes to robberies and somehow a police officer is involved or somebody in the police force is involved, there's also always someone on the inside who's making things happen, but you don't know who it is for a while. And the one who it ended up being was very kind of surprising because for a while, because Holmes and Watson, they met this woman while they were out, because they actually went out in the blizzard with no car or no way of getting a cab or anything. So they were out layered up, and they come across this plower, this lady who's in a plower, but she's not doing anything right now because she can't move. And so Sherlock basically asked her, can they get in the car, because he's freezing to death. And the woman, she kind of looks at him like he's weird for being out when there's a blizzard going on. But she lets them in, and then Holmes, he asked her to take him to the place, the factory where they make the money and stuff and shred the money, that's where the second robbery takes place. And first she was like, no, I can take Miss Watson home, but I'm not gonna do that. And then of course he has to bribe her. He gives her like a lot of cash in order for her to go, because they're in New Jersey at the time. And then they go there and they find some evidence, and then I forgot how they were let in. I think somehow they got in, and then the guy, so apparently the whole factory is run in the control room, and I guess, I don't know if there's like a lot of people running behind it, but it's automated. It's like an automated control room, and everything they have like a log of things that happen, and there's like over $300 million missing, or it has been sorted, which means it's been shredded. And so Sherlock's like, can you take me and Miss Watson down to the shredder room? Since the money's already shredded, it's not like we're gonna steal anything, which is true. And so they go down, and Sherlock, like, because there's like these, you know how when you're at a, like a, what's it called, like a trash yard, something like that. I can't even think of the word right now. And you see, and there's like, you know when they compact like old cars and stuff, or dump yard, and they compact old cars and like in this little boxes, so little square metal sheet thing. So that's what the shredded paper looked like. But when Sherlock, he like touched it, and it turned out it was all fake currency. Like, it was like regular paper instead of, that kind of paper they use for money. And so the man was like, "What are you talking about?" And so it turns out that the whoever got into the system and got into the factory replaced the currency with false currency and shredded all that and took 30, is it 30 million or 300 million? I think it might have been 30 million. And so that made it even more plausible for Sherlock to decide, I need to find out who this is. Even though there's a blizzard going on, I'm gonna find out who's robbing all these places. So Bell, once he gets her down to the station, because he finds like a hair on her jacket as she's about to like go, and he puts it up under a lamp, and he's like, because it's a blonde hair strand, and you could tell because her jacket's like black and blue or something like that, and he texts, he's like, this is a hair strand. She's like, she lied and said that it was someone from her, like a friend she was with, and it really wasn't. It was from a wig she had on, and he like looked at her and was like, you were the one who did it. And then he tries to get her to tell him where is it happening next, and that's when they get the walkie-talkie call from Sherlock. So they get the note which says that the robbery's already happened, and then he has to try and get her to tell him something, and it takes Sherlock to come and see that she isn't working alone. She's a minor player in this game, and that's when the person on the inside comes in. There was a woman in the beginning of the episode, another woman. She works for like energy management for like, I guess, the city, so that they won't run over the amount of energy they're using for the backup generators. And so they come up with this plan that this woman is going to end up trying to get the lady who had shot the man early in the episode and took all the old cell phones, and he's going to make her escape. So they plan a fake riot, and the woman, like, she's sitting there, like, not trying to run off or anything, and she goes, it takes her like a couple moments, but then she goes to the interrogation room where the woman is standing. She's by herself in the interrogation room where Bell had to leave because Gregson told him to go, because everyone of course knows what's going on except those two. And so in the end they ended up getting both of them and arrested him, and it was crazy, and I thought it was interesting. It was kind of, and actually the woman Pam I was talking about, the lady who was in the plow truck, for a while I thought she had something to do with it, because in the case there was like a false lead where an ambulance was supposedly where the money was being stashed, was called to this house, and it turned out that was just false, and because there were tracks to the place where Sherlock and Watson went to for the second robbery, and it was saying that they were saying there's like a large U-Haul or ambulance, but those flowers have like kind of those same kind of tracks. So I was nervous about that. I was like, what if she's behind this? But she wasn't. It was her, and it was the lady from the beginning episode, and the one who was supposed to help the NYPD with energy management and whatnot. But it was a pretty good episode. In the end, Miss Hudson left to go to her cousin's, and Sherlock told her about the job that he offered her, and Watson's like, that's sweet of you. And then he was like putting blood all over on the ground, and I thought that was weird, like fake blood. It was like food coloring, and he's like splashing everywhere, and she was like, what? And the last thing he told her, which was funny to me, he was like, go put on a blindfold and come out, and our next lesson will begin. I think that's kind of a weird thing, but he has weird methods, and we'll see what happens next. I really do hope we see more of Miss Hudson, because the way they characterized her in this, it makes her different, but kind of the same way, and I don't know how it's gonna work, but that should be interesting. Um, so that was that. That was Snow Angels, and I hope you guys liked it. And I'm sorry it's kind of late, because I think it came on. I don't know if it was this past week, this Thursday, or was it last Thursday. I think it was this week. I'm not sure. I'm at a loss right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.